And welcome to another session of the Wildlands campaign. Last time, our heroes, the Wanderers, found themselves dealing with a mysterious swamp monster, having some strange dreams for the first time in a long time. Consecrating the Crypt of the Magod and causing it to collapse in a giant mud bubble into the swamp. And then traveling north through the swamp, crossing from the Armadan Forest into the edge of the Mistmire to reach the Tower o' the Green, an elvish community, tiny thorp in the swamp that nevertheless seems to have quite a lot of valuable stuff going around. When you arrived, you found yourselves confronted by protective magics, and they would not let you in, although there was some debate about this, until you had proved that you were not of evil intent by passing underneath the eponymous exalted sword of the hung over the door of the blacksmith, the elven blacksmith here. There we go. You just barely had time at the very end of the session. You briefly met the leader of the place, of the little community, Avane Tenithra, and also a band of adventurers like yourselves who seems to be staying here and actually slew a small army, or helped defend the tower, the ruined tower that these elves happily, or seem to be happily living in. They helped defend it from an army of Slotty, those aberrant frog things that you yourselves fought through a whole temple of. That's about where we left it. Except you delivered Kitseeth, the lady who was trapped in the Crypt of the Magod, back to her house. And Yezdov, although her parents apparently were slain, she was taken in by Theravan Lyodon, her godfather, her elvish godfather, although Yezdov is a rare human amongst this elvish community. So at this moment, it is late afternoon in the month of Mand. You have seen the power that Avane, the leader, can call upon, growing a sort of a vine bridge that he moved around with. And you've spoken with this other party, including apparently another Aarakocra, who is wearing these bladed weapon attachments on his wings. And that's where we leave it. At this moment, Avane is calling to Windrider, and his eagle companion swoops down out of the sky. His giant eagle companion swoops down out of the sky, and he seems to be conferring with the great bird up at the top of the tower as you guys are speaking with some folk down here. And I have set this up. I'm about to open it up to you guys, but yes, there was quite a to-do about the return of Kitsith and Yezdov, but they were both completely exhausted after not only their ordeal, but traveling with you guys. So they have both gone into their huts to collapse. And Avane, yes, it is important to mention that Avane said that he wanted to thank you all for returning Sister Kitsith to them, and of course Yezdov, the little girl. And if you would promise to protect the tower while you were staying here, he offered you free rooms at his place here in the tower.
Thank you. That is most kind. We appreciate your hospitality very much.
Yes, I don't have any problem protecting the tower against whatever comes.
Well, you are welcome, Avane calls down from the tower. And we shall have a splendid dinner tonight to celebrate. Which the other adventuring party, the Fastfoot crew, they kind of break out in smiles and nod to each other. They seem excited by that idea. Perhaps they've been feted at some point as well. I am supposed to pull out Bliss's token because apparently I forgot to put that out. There we go. Okay. One other thing. I know we're about to start a role-playing scene, but I just wanted to describe... I just want to take 1 minute. I'm going to describe what's going on here. So you see we have this town map, right? Tower of the Green. I mean, it's not really a town. It's a thorp. Very small population of people. Although there are quite a few children running about, you will notice that there are, on the map, there are the names of the different sections, different areas of interest, different people's houses, etc. Many of these appear on the shopping spreadsheet that I gave you guys, so you can shop in between sessions. But there are also these red tick marks. And those, you remember how I've set up towns before where it's kind of like a worker placement game where you can put yourself on a spot on the map and then it's like you are there, you go there in the town, right? And you can do something. So I'm adding something to that. So that you understand what it's all about. Those red tick marks represent facts or things that you can investigate, that you can find out through investigating in an area. So if a person spends a half day investigating in an area, then you can get one of those potentially useful pieces of information. So you can, and you know how many are available to discover at each place. Okay. So, if there are no questions about that, Akiri.
Ready when you are.
This guy stands before you. He and you are kind of eyeing each other. He has been introduced as Sir Kluk Starak. And he has very beautiful plumage. It's very fine and silky.
Akira is very excited because that's definitely a sword wing. And she hasn't seen one in a while. It's out of Sutherland. So she is going to, as soon as she can, she's going to go up to him and introduce herself.
It is nice. It is nice to meet you, Akiri.
Hi. Wow, you're you're really cool. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. He kind of preens a little bit, then catches himself, and he says, I do try. Are you a young one? You are... It is unusual to see a feathered friend out here, much less one of the curled.
Yeah. Yeah, you're only the I guess second one we've ever seen so far.
Second what? I'm not curled.
Other okra. Aside from the family, but
Ah, yes. You did not mean the frilled, but another Aarakocra. Yes. I am here performing my duties as Swordwing.
cool. Do you mind if I ask what you're doing?
He glances at the goblin, kobold, and halfling who are busying themselves they're starting to trying to clean up the melting bodies of the slotty, making themselves useful. But he pauses before helping them. He says, yes, it has been most productive to work with these folk, the Fast Foot crew, of which I am now also a member.
Cool.
We have a mission of grave import.
Ooh. Can I ask what it is?
It is a dark subject, perhaps more suited over a glass of wine than the peaceful afternoons of the Tower of the Green. But
Yeah, that's probably fair.
he leans closer. And I don't know you. But it has to do with unicorns.
Oh, her eyes light up. We are actually close to that place, aren't we? Decently close. Since they're cleaning up, Akiri's gonna help them out whatever way she
Okay.
can.
Yeah, they welcome that. The elves are kind of most of the citizenry is going about like their daily business, and there seems to be some mending. They've already perhaps started, but there's some mending of the buildings after the battle that took place that needs to happen. So they're working on that, kind of reweaving the wattle and daub walls of the buildings, etc. But they seem to have quite a knack for this sort of work. For huts, they're quite beautiful. As is the ruined tower covered in greenery. So I guess as you're working, he mentions that he hopes that this important mission will not keep him, because he wants to go to an upcoming meeting of the Swordwings.
Yeah, I was planning on the. Is that the one in? Is that the one in Bjorkstad?
You what?
Hold on, let me make sure my date's right. Does he seem surprised that I know about it, or surprised that or did I say the wrong?
He seems surprised that you know about it.
Oh, yeah. That one?
How do you know?
Damn if I know. I found out.
I did not know it was common knowledge. It is an important meeting, apparently.
Yeah, I heard.
He seems very interested in you.
Excellent. Akiri is probably equally interested in him.
Well,
He's confused himself.
they say DCO himself will be in attendance. Surely you've heard of him.
Yes, I absolutely have.
Some very important matters to discuss. Prophecies. Omens.
Yeah, but watch the skies.
What? You know much, young one.
She glances back at her group. We've been busy the past few months.
Tell me,
Now it's
do you know what... Do you know... Do you know anything of the unicorns?
no, maybe we flew over a place at one point that had unicorns and trolls. I think.
He says, Miss Fastfoot. And he calls the halfling over, and the armored halfling kind of comes up, and she says, I... She has dark skin and very, very close cropped hair. And very shiny armor. And he says, these folk know something of the unicorns. She says,
Not very much. We just. It's a very long story, but we stole a flying pirate ship. And as we were headed to our destination to give it back, um, we flew over this like castle thing, kind of, and it had like it was a while ago, so I don't remember it super clearly. But it had like there were unicorns and they were like penned up or something, and they were like trolls or ogres or something big and nasty.
Well, you've already done a recon for us. Much appreciated. Miss Curie, was it?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's mighty fine. Anything else you can tell us so we know what we're getting into?
That's really all I could see. Like I said, we just kind of passed by it.
I see. Well, if they're in pens, that's good. Means they haven't all been harvested yet.
I mean,
But it also means we need to get a move on. Galax, Gadul, Sir Cluke, we can't stay much longer than the night. Apparently, the unicorns were recently still in pens, which means they haven't been chopped up and sold to the highest bidder yet.
when I say recently, it was a couple months ago.
Oh. Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it felt wrong, even from how high up we were.
Well, I'll say we haven't even had time to go check out more of the source. We tried, but all that mucking about in the Feywild didn't get us nowhere.
Wild.
Aye. There's you don't know about the green hole?
I has she ever heard of that?
No.
That's kind of what I figured. No, I haven't.
Are you guys having this conversation out in the open?
Yeah. They've been cleaning up the bodies. The sun is setting.
Casually.
You smell a strange perfume on the breeze, Bliss.
Damn it. Why did I say anything?
I was waiting for you to say something. This lady rubs her almost bald head and says, she stares into the distance. She says, "It's really something out there. But they've been stealing. I mean, that's why people like us and you, presumably, come around here so often. Well, there's a portal to the Feywild, not far away.
Oh.
Avane is something of the keeper of it.
Okay. Oh, that's why everything's so green.
I don't think it's really called the Green Hole, but the Elvish name is too hard for me to pronounce.
That's fair.
Well, they've been, you don't seem to, know anything about it, which is unfortunate, but, they've been taking those unicorns right out of the Feywild.
Oh. From the hole? Or do you guys know?
Must be. It's not as though portals to the Feywild are a dime a dozen.
Yeah, that's true.
But if we're about done here, I think it's time to go to dinner. Sir Cluke looks up from... He started preening again. And he says, "Ah, yes. Dinner. Food. And He says, I hope you will sit near me, Akiri.
Absolutely. She looks very, very buzzing.
All right. Well, unless somebody else wants to do something.
Max.
Yes.
The scent that I can smell. Is it familiar? Is it something specific that I recognize?
It's a heady smell of orchids, sweet and alluring, but like fermenting fruit.
Okay.
And once it gets in your nostrils, you can't get it out.
Okay. Shit. Okay. I'll leave it at that for now.
Must be pollen in the air.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay. Well, as the sun sets, you guys are invited into Avine's brothel.
That's a name.
And the mood kind of changes. And some of the elves pull out violins. And Avane conjures some various fruits, and some wine casks are broken open. And they start passing the cups of wine around. Then the dancing starts. These two ladies, rather scantily dressed, both elvish, start dancing, and some other people start dancing too. It almost seems like a kind of release of stress and you know, that they've survived, and also, you know, a little girl and Kitseeth came back. Both of whom are sort of not really up to joining the festivities at the moment. But you know, it's like a little party. And the food and drink flows freely. You do notice that everything is vegetarian.
Very pleased.
Although when you were walking through the tower, when you enter the tower, it has this old musty smell, but there's all these different rooms set up, like everybody's living in like a different room of the tower. It does not seem as though all the elves are vegetarians. However, the dire mushroom burger is apparently to die for, as Avane tells you. Or actually, not as Avane tells you, as Galax, the one of the fast foot crew, tells you, which is odd to hear coming from a kobold. Okay. It's not quite a rave, but it is starting to get to be a fun party. And as the wine is flowing, and people are drinking and conversing, and you're getting to know everybody, and the music is playing. Tharavel, the blonde blacksmith. He kind of gets up from where he's lying on one of the mossy couches, and he kind of walks stumbling over toward Bliss.
Cool. I will say Bliss has barely eaten any food and barely drunk anything. This looks like this would exactly be his kind of scene, but he instead just looks supremely uncomfortable right now. And I don't mean just because the blacksmith is coming to him. This whole night he has just looked intensely uncomfortable.
Indeed. As this guy walks up to you, he kind of this elf gives you a smile and says, "Hello there."
Bliss kind of like shakes like he was like somewhere else and like just kind of looks at him as if he just noticed him for the first time and goes, hello. I'm sorry. I guess I suppose I've maybe drank a little bit too much tonight. And he holds up a glass that is very full and been barely touched.
Okay. Well, Bliss, you're watching everyone else's faces get redder like yours. But in his perfectly tailored leather clothing, Tharavel bows, his blonde hair waterfalling over his head. You get a good look at the tiny sapphire earrings in his ears. His pointy elf ears. And he looks up and he says, "You are not the one who should say sorry. I am sorry."
Oh.
"Good sir, I did you a disservice. Sir, I have a cousin. A cousin whose mind was overwhelmed by a demon. He's now in a madhouse. A madhouse in Boggart's Bottom. And when I see a devil man like yourself, sometimes I am too quick to judge. Sir, I would like to present you with a gift, sir."
Bliss just kind of stares utterly baffled at the situation and not prepared whatsoever and just says, thank you,
I have been conversing with Avane, who leads our little community. And he has told me that what I did was wrong, which I admit. So I beg your forgiveness.
Of course, yes,
I keep saying that's so funny, but does not matter. What matters is, as Alvain put it, or as Alvain would put it, I want you to be comfortable.
He does chuckle a little bit at that because, yeah, he does talk funny, doesn't he?
So here is a gift. He holds out a ring. A silver ring that looks like twisted vines. It's quite beautiful. Twisted vines worked into a loop.
Bliss is very impressed, and he takes the ring and he kind of inspects it closely, and says, "This is beautiful work. Did you make? I assume you made this yourself."
Why, yes, I am. Well, yes. The gem cap. You see, there is. I had some help from Enialas. He points out there's another elf. He points out another guy who's drinking and currently talking to Bella. I had some help from him, but yes, I am a silversmith as well as a blacksmith.
Well, I'm very impressed.
Blacksmith.
I
Blacksmith.
Yes. Thank you very much. All is forgiven. I will treasure this. Thank you. And just to prove it, he goes ahead and slips on the ring on one of his not already occupied fingers.
The vines that form this silver loop animate and twist and curl, resizing to your finger. Like roots. And he says, it is a deep root mind ring. It will help you from, I hope, further mental discomfort in the future.
Thank you.
You are my friend. No, you are not my friend, but we are. And he walks away.
Who's sitting next to me?
Who's sitting next to Bliss?
I think this would be a good time in game for Bliss and I to have had our conversation that if you want to get some insights into, join the Discord. We should probably post that, Nico.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yes, join the Discord.
I guess I
Here's
will
the
take
link.
a breath and just say, you saw that happen too, right? That wasn't just me. That whole interaction just happened.
That was rather strange.
Okay, I'm glad it wasn't just me. For a moment there, I thought someone put something in my drink, and I just hallucinated a bizarre encounter.
Are either of you trained in perception? Proficient?
Probably.
I'm not.
I am.
Bref, you noticed that Avane Tanithra was watching this happen. The kind of bearded half-elf druid guy.
Can I detect any other effects of the ring?
Well, you have not partaken of anything here. You will notice I only rolled 5d20s.
No, the ring, not the wine.
So you don't have any problem examining it. You direct your full attention to it. There is definitely something quite interesting about the tiny, tiny green gems. You think they're probably some kind of high-quality jade. Almost transparent. Worked within the vines. Are you proficient in Arcana?
I'm afraid not.
Well, he called it a deep-root mind ring, and he said it could help you from further mental discomfort. So, you're gonna have to attune to it if you want to figure out what it does.
He said
Or
it
ask
got
someone.
help from somebody else. Who did he say it was again?
Any Ellis.
For now, Bliss will just admire its beauty, and I think that whole situation kind of helped pull him out of his reverie a little bit, and he's trying to take in the festivities a little bit. But when he sees the elf women dancing, there's now a weird kind of deeper red blush of jealousy on his face, just a tiny bit, just a tinge of of jealousy when he sees the elves up on stage, and he just kind of takes a deeper swig of his wine now because he's just like, okay, I think I'm gonna need this now.
That's the spirit.